Hello, everyone. My name is Jamie Zamora. I am a student of UAT, and today we'll be diving into project number five, which is the unpredictability and scarcity of a game or a somewhat of a concept, that is utilized to create somewhat of a suspense, momentum, gather individuals or just kind of increase somewhat of a fun, for lack of better words. So here is something that I want to go ahead and kind of dive into, which is the gamification goal of this particular project. So the goal of this project is to create a motive to play the game by creating the illusion of randomness or unpredictability. Also to increase game time and audience at a specific times, and also the side quest game exposure. So let me go ahead and start playing somewhat of a overall game concept here is obviously to allow the user to navigate through your game, but also to obviously keep them engaged. And by that, we'll be using a couple elements that we've learned in class that allow us to somewhat create that VIP feel. Only certain people allowed, or very specific, and also obviously creating illusions of randomness, which allows to kind of keep the player engaged and curious, for lack of a better word. So like I said, the idea here is to, create some motive to increase some game time and also to game exposure. And when I mean big game exposure, I feel like there's a lot of games within games. So we've seen FIFA has, things like FIFA Ultimate Team, it has soccer, FIFA Street Soccer, and sometimes users will only just play one particular game of that game. So Call of Duty, I know a lot of friends or a lot of people that would just play zombies and that's all they play. Or maybe they only play campaign and that's all they play. So we'll see how certain games kind of utilize some elements to maybe kind of have the user explore other sections of the game. Okay. So unpredictability. So obviously I've talked about somewhat of my goal, and I've talked about this workout games, and I want to keep that theme because not that I consider some of those games or simulations to be hard to gamify, but I do think that that is kind of where the rubber meets the pavement, right? Like where it's it's easy to create certain games that are the expected, but it's kind of when you gamify a concept like working out that it really kind of starts showing the power of gamification and also how to get the users stuck, or sticky, the sticky of coming back. So unpredictability is being used for many years, I would say, in some shape or form for gamers to explore, to obviously to keep them engaged. I can tell you from my personal experience, something that FIFA Ultimate Team does really well for me, which is obviously in the game you buy packages, and then it's by random. You get players by random, right? So you can apply this Madden to basketball games, NBA, also FIFA, which is soccer. But technically speaking, I have been in many times where I'm like an hour into the game and I'm like, I'm just gonna go ahead and call it a day. But I still have some extra coins and I go and buy that package and boom. Next thing you know, amazing player shows up, limited edition, and I have to play him. I have to play him. I have to put him in my roster. I gotta like at least play a game with him to see how it feels. If he's he fast enough or why not. So, that's literally another 10, 15, 30 minutes of game time that, I was ready to call it quits. And obviously, they got me again, right? And you just, little things by random. Um, which is it by random and unpredictability touches base on a lot of for example we hear in class the is it the randomness where you are somewhat of the ratio of where it's gonna obviously happen. A lot of people might call it logarithms, like, oh, the game knows when I'm like, they just give me that player to get me hooked. And, you know, I would say that there's certain things that you can utilize by chance, by random, And obviously, we talk about the dice. When you roll the dice, it's not that you're taking, a number out of the equation. You're still gonna have the capability of rolling 1 to 6. No matter how many times you throw the dice, there's always gonna be those the same sides. You're not taking one side out of the equation and then decreasing the chances. So those concepts are being obviously introduced into gaming to keep you somewhat engaged. And the 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 um, the elements that I'm going to be using for with that theme of working out is one of them is a side quest, which I think is a way to introduce other users to maybe other sections of your game, or maybe perhaps introduce you to like a new project that you might be working with in the game. So for me, for the working out, maybe I'm introducing for working out. The one that I've been talking about is a lot of into boxing. So maybe a side quest would be earn extra points if you try the Zumba class, where like you actually have to dance. It's no longer boxing, but I want to get my users into maybe perhaps maybe other moves or working out other parts of the air of their body, and it's going to require them to maybe do things that maybe they're not comfortable doing. Like nobody's just going to go and dance Zumba, but maybe perhaps if you do it somewhat of a hey side quest, earn double points if you do this. It might give them a chance to kind of come out of their element. It happens, right? um, Easter eggs it's another one that I like to use. Unexpected rewards, and I feel like this is important for some of the firms that I seen. I use EA Sports. They do really well. I play a lot of FIFA, and one of the things that they did maybe 2 series ago with FIFA is they introduced an application via your phone, and they reward you for every time you log in into your app, right? So whether color an Easter egg or not, it was kind of cool to see like, and it doesn't happen every time, but it's like, hey, this is the 20th time that you use this app, and boom, you get a special player, like awesome player, like wow, like I'm definitely gonna keep checking the news or everything through my via my app. I'm not even in the console anymore. I'm not even PS4, but they're keeping engaged with me somehow, some way. So it keeps the engagement up, and obviously you get those unexpected rewards that you're like, "Ah, I'm gonna try this again." So I think Easter eggs or unexpected rewards are important when you're dealing with a user that maybe is just entering your game, and maybe kind of I would call it even like a follow-up. A follow-up with your users, kind of like that tick that you throw in there, like, "Hey, thank you for being a user. Here's X amount of coins so you can go buy that skin that you've been wanting to, and then once you buy it, then you boom, you go play, right? With this game in particular, I would like to introduce that whether maybe after the 100th time they play or after maybe they download the app or XYZ. I think that rewarding Easter eggs, or even they find them throughout the workout, or hey, you completed the 15th workout, you're gonna get this random that you didn't know you were getting it, and it just kind of it's a happy feel moment that you get because you've been rewarded for doing the right thing, which is playing the game. Rolling rewards: need to win, reward two to know what reward three is. That gets me a lot too, and I think when motivating somebody, when increasing gameplay, this type of elements are important, right? Keeping everybody engaged. You need to complete XYZ challenge to win this, but then they kind of like, hey, but if you kind of continued, this is what it would look like, right? And we see this in so many games, right? I've seen it in FIFA. Once again, they do really phenomenal job to people engage. I mean, it's insane. It's kind of one of those things where I've seen hours of game time, happening, and I think when you talk about it in workout, you know, I think that ranking is important. I think that gear is important. Because it's somewhat of the show off moment that you get. But I will say that the reward, this in order to see what you can get, could potentially be used in maybe unlocking events or maybe gear. I would say gear would be really cool in this workout event. Say, hey, listen, this is the kind of like that black belt, yellow belt in karate kind of element. This is where you need, this is where you get now, but you could get the golden one if you complete XYZ. So, or continue. And I think the keyword is continue. I think if you continue to win or continue to participate, keyword participate, this is what you can get, right? So, unpredictability is definitely one of those elements in gaming that I think I would say we saw it at an early age in game development, but I think now it's being utilized at 130%. You see it in Fortnite, you see it in these new games that just really masters the way to keep you engaged by using this type of element. And scarcity is, you know, talk about close cousins at this point when it comes down to this two concepts. And I say this because with Destiny, I remember it was kind of one of the first times that I was introduced to the weekend specials. And it's like they had a timer, like you had to go talk to this particular person. It was only on the weekends that he would show up, and you can just trade the weapons that you had, and you would give this normal weapon, and if you trade it in, you got this like limited edition weapon, and it was amazing, right? Like if you made, I remember working with, talking to a couple of friends and scheduling the time to make sure, hey man, don't forget this weekend, go do the exchange with the weapons. And when you kind of get the community to do that, I mean, you're at the holy grail. You're at the namaste point of what you want the users to do, right? You're super engaged with your audience, and they get it. So for me, going back to the workout event, workout application, simulation that I've been working on, or would like to work on more, is holiday events, and we've seen this kind of like on 5K runs and whatnot. For example, the turkey run, or recently with the whole COVID situation, the virtual runs where like you literally run by yourself, but you're participating with this bigger cost. So that's kind of interesting. I saw that really, I didn't think it was going to take off, but it definitely did. Holiday runs, for example, like we see a Halloween run. People get dressed up and just run, and maybe you might not run the whole entire year, but because it's that holiday run, and because it's you get to dress up and do these crazy things, and it's that one time a year you're gonna do a 5K run. You know what I mean? And but you in a run you wouldn't do that. So it motivates the user to do that. So I think like holiday events for working out app, it's important, right? So like you maybe instead of we would change the theme music for Christmas music, and now you're working out the Christmas songs and whatnot. You can change that. You can also say that, hey, this the 31st, start the year correct, the right one time only. We're gonna have this one time coach that is gonna come in, and it only gonna do it on the New Year's Eve, and we're gonna have this crazy event, and I think that motivates them. I seen it on a lot of VR platforms, with Alt Space. Alt Space does like, hey, recently they were like, oh, the winter ball, and then people knew it was on Saturday. People knew it was like at 6 o'clock, and they knew the DJs that were going to show up. It's very, very momentum driven. Um, the second thing that I would like to use as an element would be invite only. So I think there's something to be said about like, hey, like you can only come to this event if it's an invite only. Somebody needs to invite you, right? So if not, you can't make it. I think that's something that is important because it kind of brings that VIP feel, and people are definitely going to want to do it. Almost like, and even covering other aspects of the class, but there's this whole concept that if you invite me now, I kind of owe you, because, hey, you invited me, but it's more on the receiving part, meaning like if I was the one inviting and they accepted and now they're coming to the event, I absolutely kind of have to go to that event because it look really bad if I don't show up and I was the one that invited you. So definitely, a big, powerful motivational factor in there. And high ranking only. Once again, trying to recreate that, elite only the best of the best, kind of concept where like you need to rank up first to participate in this particular event, right? So, I think I saw that in Destiny as well. Like, if you were not this rank, you could not do this project, like this mission, and so you had to go do random stuff. Or like, if you don't have this gear, you will not survive. You just won't make it, right? So they create that uniqueness of it. So, on working out, I think that'd be, yeah, essentially something that we could create as well. Like, you need, in order to participate in this class, like, you need to be black belt. Simple as that, right? You have to, and only the best of the best will be here. And once you're there and you accomplish that, you're gonna feel that accomplishment moment, that is, you belong, right? So, really interesting stuff. Once again, Jamie Zamora, UAT student. So if you guys have any questions left, then let me know. I appreciate you guys checking this out. All right, thanks.